Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Afterschool podcast. My name is Mr. Messer, but you can call me Rob, and I'm so happy to be joined today. Afterschool, the marketing director of the beautiful Mount Pleasant Town Center and the president of the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce, Kathi Herrmann. Kathi, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
So excited. I have a lot of interest and I'm like all over the place. And I'm so excited to chat with you because like you and your career that I looked up check so many of the boxes of things that are of interest and a passion of mine, marketing, culture. I saw that you went to school in Connecticut, which is where
hmm
I'm from. So excited to really dive in and learn about your career and what's going on in Mount Pleasant. So I always like to start at the beginning. So if you don't mind just giving us the quick, I call it a 55-second origin story on who Kathi is before you even got into the marketing world.
Oh, before the marketing world, that was a long time ago. I have to go far back for that. But I was raised on Long Island in New York, and I've actually been working in shopping centers almost my entire career, which is goodness over 30 years. I can't believe that I can say that, but I got my first job right out of college at a shopping center in New York City. And I worked for them for over 20 years before I moved here. So it's really all I know. It's what I love. And, it's turned into a passion. And I was able to bring that with me when I moved here to Mount Pleasant.
So, and I read you moved in 2016. Is that accurate?
Yes, it'll be 9 years in February. And I came here for this job.
Got it. And
Yeah.
what's and we'll bounce around because I definitely wanted to give the town center a lot of time here. But was it being built? Did it already exist when you jumped on board?
We just celebrated 25 years.
Okay,
At Town Center opened in April of 1999. So this year, 2024, was our 25th year. Um,
interesting.
so yeah, they've been. People talk about way before Town Center was even built. It was all farmland, and they had to fill in lakes and reservoirs, and there was absolutely nothing out here this far on 17. And the big joke is everyone said nobody would ever go shopping there because it was too far from downtown or too far from Old Village. Nobody would come
Wow.
out here.
And look at it now. Look at Route
Right.
17 now.
That's
And
right.
where I'm over on Clements Ferry and the talk here with every I don't know how often if ever you get out here, but everyone's saying like it's going to be all signs are pointing to this is going to look like Route 17 in 4 years.
Oh, I
Uh,
agree. Well, when I first moved here, Rob, I lived out on Clements Ferry, and
oh,
probably three quarters of what's there now was not there when I moved here. And we still had the Wando Bridge wasn't that little bridge; it was a little one way right
mm,
across the water bridge, and none of those apartments, none of those houses, nothing was out there when I moved out here.
yeah. I mean, I moved in 2020 and it was the Publix and that was it. And now
Yep.
it's total makeover.
Well, I was here
Um,
before Publix. There was no Publix.
you're OG.
Yes.
So, uh, you know, I'm a educator-ish, former educator. I've bounced back from marketing and entrepreneurship to the public education system for a while, hence the name After School. Looking back on your days, first of all, when you get to reflect, were there any signs, anything about your childhood, what you were like as a student that would kind of uh, point in the direction of you taking on marketing, leadership roles, becoming a president of the Chamber of Commerce? Just curious if you reflect on your days as a student.
I know absolutely nothing. My father wanted me to be a cop or an FBI agent, and I wanted to be a veterinarian. And then I realized that I'm really bad at science, so that didn't work.
Mm,
And then when I was applying for colleges, I wanted to be a record. I wanted to work for the record companies back then. When actual had record companies. So in my college yearbook, it says I will be the head of RCA Records. If anyone remembers what RCA Records is, but so I was a major of marketing and a minor in music management. And then when I graduated, it was hard to find a job, even back then. And so I literally my first job that I got that accepted me was a shopping center, and I had absolutely no idea what went on behind the scenes of a shopping center. As a kid, I would just go shopping, and you don't realize not just the marketing aspect of it, but of course, operations and housekeeping and janitorial and leasing and manage. I mean, there's so many different things that go into it. And I
Mm,
started at the very, very bottom. But one of the things that I always say to everybody when they start a new job is I learned everything about it, even if it didn't have to do with me.
yeah,
So if I had time, I would even give up some lunch hours or whatever it was to go hang out with the housekeeping manager, to go hang out with the maintenance manager, to go hang out with the leasing people and learn really what the whole thing was about. And I think that helped me as I continued to move up in the company.
that's a great call out. Shopping centers. Now that I'm thinking about it, shopping center, we could have, we were just talking about Publix here. Like that's a shopping center. But I saw you also worked as the director for marketing at Roosevelt Field, which
Hmm.
is a ginormous monstrosity up there, up north. So like, what constitutes, and then, Mount Pleasant Town Center, does that constitute as a shopping center as well?
There are different levels. So if you look at it like Roosevelt Field or even here like Citadel or Northwoods, they are considered enclosed shopping centers or enclosed
Okay.
shopping malls. Town Center is open air like Tanger, so we're considered an open air lifestyle center because there's no enclosed areas. And something like the Publix that you mentioned is really considered I don't like to use the word, but they call it a strip center, a strip shopping center.
Yeah.
So there's all different levels, but in comparison, Town Center and Tanger outlets are the same thing, and then Citadel and Northwoods are the same thing. Up where I came from, we only had one outdoor lifestyle center. Long Island had four or five, no, I'm sorry, six enclosed regional shopping centers, including Roosevelt Field, which I think is now the eighth largest in the country. When I worked there, it was the sixth, but I think they've built some more since I left.
Wow. I remember just being fascinated with how big it was just driving by off the highway.
Hmm.
So you, somewhere along the line, I mean, you said you're almost at a 30-year career. You obviously jumped in and really embraced it and wanted to learn. Was there a certain point where you like caught the bug and said, you wanted to pursue this, you want to get more serious and move up the ladder? Was there, like, looking back, was there a point, or was it just kind of gradual and you look back and like, oh, I've been doing this for a decade?
I I think it's a little bit of both, honestly, because I was very lucky to work for a very large company. I'm not going to promote them on here, and I was able to work for a really large company, and they had shopping centers all over. So I never I never got stuck anywhere, and I never got. I hate to use the word bored, but I never got bored. So when I was done with the shopping center, when I felt like I gave it all I could give it, there was another opportunity for me to go somewhere else. And then after that, I could go somewhere else. So I worked at all four Long Island properties that they owned. I also had a regional position for a while. I had a vice president position for a while. So I was able to do all of those things without ever having to leave home. I didn't. I traveled as a regional and a VP, but I was always based in Long Island. So I had that opportunity. So it didn't feel like I was. I didn't feel like I was with them forever because I got these new chances all the time to just
Mm,
continue going up. So I started all the way as a marketing. I don't even think it was like a marketing coordinator. I don't even, they made a title up for me, I think. And then I went to marketing administrator. And then I went up to an assistant marketing director. And then I went to a marketing director. And then I just went from like a level 3 mall to a level 4 mall to a level 5 mall to a level 6 mall. That's how it kind of all worked out. And I never had to leave the company because I just kept getting new chances.
that's great. And it says, I mean, it says a lot about you and it says a lot about them too, to provide a space to grow and to
Hmm.
learn and to want to be at. So, you mentioned you've been at this for a while, and I'm just doing some mental math in my head. We're recording this November 2024. If I take away 30, that puts us at 1994.
I actually started in 92, so it's 32 years.
92. So
Yeah.
shopping malls, I'm thinking back to shopping malls, shopping centers. They were a thriving place where kids would meet after school. They were a hub for socializing. And, I remember my family, we'd go and we kind of split up a little and, eat at the food court and whatnot. In comes the internet, shopping online.
Hmm.
You had to combat that, retail, and I'm going very fast here, but retailers had to figure that out.
Hmm.
And now in comes social media and the Amazons of the world, where you don't have to go to these places to get what you need. Perhaps the excuse. So looking back at those, and I'm sure there was more in there. I'm just through a quick couple of huge transformations in our culture. But looking back as a marketer, how did you combat that when you want to drive traffic to these places?
Well, you can log on in your pajamas and order anything you want, but you can't get an experience. And so that's kind of when I think that marketing really took over the shopping centers, and it wasn't just placing an ad in the paper. It was creating these events and creating these experiences that you just had to be at. And so people would get up from their computers and come to the shopping center because we gave you something that you could not get from a screen. And that's why still to this day, we here, especially at Town Center, we have so many events
Mm,
that we do. You cannot, you can't experience those events at home. You have to be here. And I also think that this property is a little bit different because of the way it's set up. It's so easily to navigate. The free parking. I mean, we've just got everything you could possibly need to get you out of your house and to get you here. Back in the regional mall days, I mean, we used to do events so big. I mean, we had married a couple in the shopping center once.
really?
I mean, that was just crazy. We used to have these concerts that would just blow your mind. Fashion events that were 3 days long, and again, things that you just cannot experience at home.
Mm,
So there was a whole new concept of marketing that was created to help with these. And it's also the shopping center too, right? So there are certain things. If you want to go, I worked for at Walt Women Shops, which is a very upscale shopping center in Huntington. We have Louis Vuitton and all that. Most people are coming in to buy their Louis on. They're coming in person. They're not
mm,
buying them online. You know, they need the experience.
sure.
They want to be treated like a Louis Vuitton customer. So depending on the shopping center too, believe it or not, there's really not that much effect of the online shopping, depending on where you are.
Interesting. And I mentioned social media, a huge from a just a consumer standpoint of
Mhm.
how you get information, hear about things, but also from a marketing perspective, it's been huge in the last decade. Curious, like what when it first came out, whether maybe it was Facebook or something else, you personally, when did you finally take the leap into utilizing social media, and then when, as a marketer, I know you guys are really good with it for the town center, but I'm just curious those two times in your life recently.
Well, personally, I'm not a fan. Um, I have Facebook to stay in touch with my friends and family around the country. I can watch my friends' kids grow. I can watch my nieces grow and all that. I think I have an Instagram account, but I don't look at it too often. I'm just not one for the phone, and it's just not my thing.
Hmm.
Work wise, of course, is completely different. Work wise is completely different, and we've really taken advantage of it because it's so instant. And there's so many different things that you could do with it, and so many different people that you reach. And I really think, like you said, we've got it nailed down. Of We've got the ability just to. I could walk around the shopping center, Rob, and just see something in the window, right? That's amazing going on at one of the stores and take a picture and upload it. And then it's got, hundreds of likes in the next 10 minutes. I mean, you can't beat that kind of
For
promotion
free.
for free. Exactly. So we've certainly embraced it. And I guess the new thing, and I leave this to my agency because they're so much better at it than I am, but all the reels and all that stuff. I mean, when you put them together, I mean, I just smile.
Hmm.
It's such it, but it's a lot of work. I
Sure.
mean, it's a full time job, social media for sure, especially for a property of this size.
Yeah.
We're very lucky, I think, that we don't have to look for content. Like we don't have to make it up because we have so many things that are going on here at all times. So you could either focus on all of the stores or you could focus on all the events. So we never really run out of anything to talk about.
Totally. Even if you didn't talk about anything, just it's so aesthetically pleasing,
Right.
the whole property.
Well, thank you.
Never mind, this time of year when everything's decorated, like you don't even, it could be a silent feed and still do well, I
Yep.
think. Let's talk about it. Can you give for people that might not be as educated, can you give us just the 411 on the town center? The number of retailers you have. You mentioned when it was open, but
Sure.
just a quick few seconds on that, just for context.
Sure. Well, if you haven't been here yet, you're missing out on the best shopping in the region. I'll tell you that. We are located on 17 North, right by the IOP connector. As I mentioned before, we opened in 1999. So this year we celebrated our 25th year. We currently have over 70 stores and restaurants. And we also are working on some new tenants with more services. So, for instance, we had Forever Young Anti Aging just opened. And we also have Mind Zero, which is that really cool sauna and plunge pool
Oh, nice.
for your mind, supposed to awaken your mind. They'll be opening very soon. And our restaurants are just amazing. We have some of the best restaurants in town. Burton's Grill and Bar, Savvy Kachina. We have Malika Pakistani, Condado Tacos, just to name a few. Grimaldi's, P.F. Chang's, just this really great mixture of restaurants. We have a movie theater, a 16-screen movie theater. And we have this beautiful park that we do a lot of our events in that's located right out in front of Barnes and Noble. So we pretty much have everything that you could possibly want in one trip. And like I mentioned, free parking, ample free parking.
Yeah, it is very easy to get in and out of. And like I said, there's just a different feeling when you take that left or right into 17. It's like you enter this different world.
Yep.
Uh, and it's just nice. It's just a nice, like you said, it's an experience.
Well, I'm glad you're a fan.
So let's talk about the events, because I think the events are so crucial. And I think my thesis is that businesses, brick and mortar, don't do them enough, and they certainly don't collaborate enough with other businesses to put on events. You guys are in a situation where it's kind of built in, the
Hmm.
collaboration factor. So what is your thesis on events? Whenever you come up with an idea, if you can do it, do you do it? I know you have some great ones coming up. Um, so
Hmm.
just your take on events and how you think about that thoughtfully to help the community of Town Center.
Sure. There are some set events that we do every year just because they're so popular and everybody loves them. We would never get rid of them. For instance, we do our Puppy Bowl every year for the Charleston Animal Society. That's the Saturday before the Super Bowl. Next year's will be our 8th annual. It's one of my favorites. Never get rid of that. In March, we do a big event with the town. We do Art Fest with the town, which is all about. We do live performances with kids all afternoon, and then we have we have an art walk where we feature 10 local Mount Pleasant artists, and we allow them on property to sell their artwork. That's just a really fun family day. We do a fitness series every spring and fall. We do a concert series every spring and fall. I have a kids club that I do from May to December. The first Tuesday of the month, we invite kids under 10 with their parents to come hang out with us for the morning. And that just came about because I was talking to the girls in my neighborhood who all have kids, and they have some in school and some that are not in school yet. And I said, well, what would you come if I did something? And they said, of course we will. Well, now I get over 200 kids every event for that.
Wow.
That's fun. And then we do our Pink Promenade, which is our fundraiser for breast cancer awareness. We do that every October. That's a huge event that is just beloved by everybody who attends. And we do a couple little events here and there in between. And then, holidays fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm planning on taking the kids this year. I think we missed last year, but just I mean your pictures for that. And I'll link up the website and stuff. Uh, it looks outstanding. Would you say that's a the Super Bowl of one?
That's the Super Bowl. Well,
Okay,
it's the most attended
yeah,
event of the year
sure.
is Lights Up. Our second most attended event of the year is our Fall Festival, which we do the Saturday before Halloween every year. But they're totally different too. But
Mm,
every, you were mentioning about the stores, right? So the stores and restaurants are always invited to be part of these events. So there's many that take advantage of it to actually physically come out to the event and set up a booth.
mhm,
And then there's other ways that they get involved. Like, for example, Pink Promenade, we use the stores for all of the fashion shows. And then we do a special shopping booklet for the guests that attend that day, and they get discounts at some of the stores. So they're always welcome at every event that we do to join in somehow, because that is the main part of my job, right? Is to make sure that my stores get attention that they deserve. But Lights Up is a little bit different because that is really not about. It's not really not about shopping that day.
yeah,
I can tell you that the restaurants, if you're looking to come, it's Saturday the 23rd, and we kick off at 6 o'clock. I guarantee you, all of my restaurants reservations at 5 o'clock are gone already.
yeah. I believe that. I believe that. Just out of curiosity, you're as a marketer for the whole complex,
Hmm.
what is your dialogue, if any, with the stores uh, as it goes for their marketing? Or is it just kind of they're just tenants and you invite them to the at scale events?
Well, it really depends on the store because the Athleta's and Lulu's and Barnes and Noble of this world, they do all
Right,
corporate
their own
stuff.
thing.
They do what they do. Excuse me, and I'll help them promote it and all that. But then some of the other stores that are one-offs or more regional, we always looked forward to working with them to come up with ideas and assist
Hmm.
them in any way that they can. I try to, when I can, actually create events just for the stores. So last year we did an event called Boutiques and Bubbles, which was literally a shopping event. And it was turning out to be absolutely perfect, Rob. We were so excited. We had about 100 people online to register. It was a Sunday afternoon. And just as we were getting ready to open, one of our lovely Charleston storms happened to come in
Oh
that,
no.
that just like kaboomed. And it, unfortunately, we had to cancel it. We couldn't even, had to shut everything down because of the lightning and thunder. So that was a bummer, and I didn't get to do it this year because something else came up. But I'm hoping to bring it back next
You got
year.
the
That's
you got
literally
the
just
blueprint
come
ready to
shop,
go for next.
right? Just come spend the afternoon with us, grab a glass of champagne, and go shopping.
I love that. I love the collaboration. But that makes sense. The big box stores already have their
Mm-hmm.
game plan and their blueprint. Going forward, do you foresee, you mentioned some service-based business that offer a couple things. And I've heard of the Plunge, not that particular company, but it's exciting because as a consumer, I was looking into it, the sauna and plunge service. Do you foresee like retailers, brick and mortar places being more service based, not just one size fits all, like Barnes Noble brought in a coffee shop. Now it's Starbucks and a bookstore. Do you think, going into this world where everyone's on their phones that we're going to see more of that uh, in here in Charleston?
Um, well, I think our main goal here is to have the perfect mix. I don't see American Eagle having a cafe, but I do see opening a cafe a couple doors down from American Eagle.
Hmm.
So I think that um, it's going to be a really nice mixture of your larger stores, um, your Old Navies, right? Your Ultas, your Barnes and Noble, which are still doing amazingly well. And then you've got your smaller brand names, again, Lululemon, Athleta, all those. And then you've got your local ones. We're so excited. We actually just had M. Dumas and Sons open their second location here. They've been downtown on King Street for over 100 years,
Yep.
and they picked here to open up their second location. They could have gone anywhere. They picked
Yeah.
here. Beautiful store. And so they're, I mean, again, they're not going anywhere. These little boutiques and the focus of these fabulous labels and design, they're just not, they're coming here. Which is exciting. But then again, at the same time, we want to add some more restaurants. We want to add some more services. So it really should be, at the end of the day, your one-stop shop. So you can come here in the morning, get your hair cut at Stella Nova, right? And then you can go shopping, and then you can grab lunch, and then you can go to the movies, and then you can grab your afternoon tea, and then you can grab your Jenny's ice cream. Then you can stay for dinner, and then you can go to the bar. I mean,
A
you could
day.
be here for a day. And that is really the whole point. And in between, you could go for a plunge in the pool at -0.
And if you wanted to, you could stay over because you got the Hyatt
And you
right
could
there.
stay at the Hyatt. There you go.
Amazing. So I don't want you to call out anybody in particular unless you want to, because this is more of a positive thing. But is there any promotion or maybe grassroots marketing campaign that you've seen a tenant do that kind of caught your eye and said, "Wow, like this is really clever."
There's been quite a few. You know who's really good at it is Palmetto Moon.
Okay.
They're a little bit more than regional now because they've actually moved out of state. But you do, I'm not sure many people know that they started out as a cart at, I don't know if it was Northwoods or Citadel, but that store literally started out as a cart.
Wow.
And now I know they've got stores in even as far as Tennessee now, I believe. So they've got this great marketing team, and they just did a whole thing with Jeep last month. They partner with a lot of local organizations. They even do things such as adoption days with the Charleston Animal Society. And I love how they keep it local like that, and they do a really good job with it. And then even the little things like Harry Winston, our pet boutique.
Yeah.
If you have an animal and not been there, you're missing out. But she just did a huge drive for the hurricane victims, for all the animals. It was
Wow.
gigantic. And then she does this angel tree program every year too that she just started with for the animals. And it's, you don't have to do any of that, but that's what we do here. We try really hard to help with the community and stay with the community. And I also enlist a whole bunch of our stores. Town Center adopts 3 families every year from Echo, and we do a gift drive. And there are 9 plus us stores that will have the tags around them in the stores. So please check our website when the stores are listed and go in and get a tag. And please help us fill this wish list for all these kids. And again, Rob, it has nothing to do with shopping, right? I don't really have
Yeah, I
to do
love
that,
that
do
mission.
I?
That's
But
fantastic.
it's I've always said, and I really honestly believe this in my heart, that Town Center is the heart of the community. And I have an ability and I have a reason to be able to give back to this community. And so I try with every ounce of my being to always either tie in a charity, tie in some kind of wonderful organization, do everything I can to give back, which is another reason you mentioned earlier, that I'm serving this year. I'm serving as the president of the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce. And, that's a fully volunteer role. So I do
Hmm.
that. I do that on my free time.
I was just gonna ask you how big your team was because it seems like you're doing
I'm
a
the
trillion
team.
and a half things.
I,
Just you.
it's
No
me.
more.
It's me. But that's okay. But I've been on the board of the chamber now for, I guess, 6 or 7 years, and it was the best thing I ever did. When I first moved here, I moved down here by myself with my husband. I didn't know a soul. I'd never been to Charleston before. I came for the job, and I'm leaving something that I knew so well in New York, that I knew everybody, and I'm moving to a town where I know nobody.
Mm.
So the first thing I did was join the chamber, because how am I supposed to run a business and get sponsors and partners without knowing anybody? So that was the first thing I did. And it was the best decision I ever made. And look at me, like, 7 years later, I'm still on the board.
Yeah.
And this
That's
year,
great.
I'm running it, and it's been an amazing experience.
What,
But it's helped me in my business because I get to meet so many great people. and help in ways that I actually didn't even really knew existed. You know, getting to know the mayor very well. Mayor Haney's amazing, and the town council members when you try and do business and things like that. It's been very helpful, and I just love the chamber. So, any businesses out there that are not a member of the chamber, you really need to join. You're missing out.
Yeah. So, what would you say to the, let's say someone is new, perhaps, maybe they're an entrepreneur, they're just in head in the sand in their business, don't have the time, maybe funds are tight. So, what would you say is the ROI on joining?
Well, I always do say so. If you join, the current membership rate is only $350 for the year to join, and there's anywhere between 2 and 4 events a month for you to choose from to attend networking events. Some are big, some are small, but if you are going to join, Rob, you have to go, you have to get involved. You can't just join and be like, okay, I'm a member now. All this business is going to come to me. That's
Right.
that's that's not how it works. You can't just open a store and say, oh, this bit. You know, you have to let the store. The store needs to let people know they're open. So you need to take advantage of the membership opportunities. You have to take advantage of the networking opportunities. You got to get out there and meet people. And if you do it, there's we have over 400. I think it's like 420 members right now. That I checked the other day. That's a lot of networking in this town.
Yeah.
So it's the biggest little chamber around.
That I love that. I love that. 420 is no joke.
No.
Well, I mean, congratulations for getting that honor, and I mean, kudos to you for doing all of that. I know that's a lot, it sounds like, and I don't know the half of it. So,
It's all
um,
good. If I didn't want to do it, I wouldn't do it.
I love that. Uh, quick last couple
Hmm.
questions before we head to our last segment here. There's I always like to take any moment I can to highlight the positive. If you put on the news, open the paper, it's often way too much negative stuff, and people are
Hmm.
getting whistles blown for the wrong reasons. You just mentioned 420 people sit on the board. You deal with all these vendors. So I'm going to ask you a very unfair question. Is
Okay.
there anyone in your travels that you would like to blow the whistle on in a positive way? Give some roses. Maybe it's, like I said, a tenant. Maybe it's, a customer. Anyone that you would like to call out in a positive way?
In a positive way. Well, let me see. Why don't I push some of my new stores that are opening? Can I do that real quick?
Sure. The floor is yours.
All right. So, as I mentioned before, we've got this really cool concept called Mind Zero. Um, they have another studio in Myrtle Beach, so this is their second location. They are tempting me to actually try this. I'm not sure if I will do it, but you go into a 125-degree sauna and you do these breathing exercises, and then you go into a 50-degree plunge pool. And apparently, it is the most incredible thing for your body and your mind. So
To
give
do
it a
the
try. It's not, you know what? I will come back to you next year, Rob, and tell you if I actually tried it. Okay?
well,
Because I'm not sure if I will.
maybe that'll be on the Mount Pleasant Town Center Instagram.
There you go. Yeah,
The
me
video.
me do me doing it. I will see. But we're really excited to have them because it's just a great use.
I
And then we
love
have
that.
another business from Myrtle Beach that just opened here, which was Loleo Juice Bar, and they're the comments that I've received from our guests are just out of control about how delicious these juices are. And they've got other things other than juices. But we're really excited to be their second location here. We have American Eagle and Airy that will be opening soon. They took over the corner space where Gap was. Excited to have both of them here, and they should be open. We hope before Christmas. Um, and then, of course, I always have to. If this time of year, I have to do a shout out to don't forget Santa. We have an incredible Santa here, and the North Pole is at the old Bed Bath and Beyond space, and Santa is available from November 29th through December 24th every day. So it's so easy. You go onto the town center website and you make your reservation. You can pay for it all online, and then you just show up with your kids or your pets, everybody's pet photos, and get your favorite picture with Santa.
Amazing. So much awesome stuff happening. Thank you for sharing all that. For our last segment here, I call it micro macro spitfire. So I'm going to throw a whole bunch of rapid fire questions at you. You can
Ready?
answer in the macro, one or two words, or you can get out your microscope and elaborate why you're answering what you are doing. All right, here we
Okay,
go.
I'm ready.
Favorite teacher you had growing up and one reason why?
Mrs. Peck, third grade, absolutely the best teacher in the world. Loved her, and she used to read us Charlotte's Web all the time.
Best concert you've ever been to?
Best or favorite?
Ooh, both.
Okay, my favorite concert I ever went to was when I got to see Duran Duran for the first time. It was March 13th, 1984, at Madison Square Garden, because
Wow.
that was just it. But believe it or not, the best concert I've ever seen, and I'm not even a fan, I'm sorry, but I went with my girlfriend, was the Unforgettable Fire Tour with U2, 1986. I was blown away.
Wow.
And I
Glory
have
days.
never seen a show that just lived up to as much hype as the Unforgettable Fire Tour from U2.
Amazing. Favorite TV show?
Ever or on now?
You could go both.
Okay, my favorite show ever on television was 24. Are you old enough to remember 24?
Yes.
that
Of course.
that was the best show in the world. Was 24. My favorite show now is Yellowstone.
24 could have been like the first like addictive
Yep,
show out
yep,
there when
yep.
you
And I
couldn't
I
do.
love Kiefer Sutherland. You can give him all day. So
I
I
would
just love that
I,
show.
I would ditch classes in college to keep on watching 24.
Yep.
Your favorite movie as a child?
As a child, oh wow, that's a great one. Um, Never really big. I wasn't a big movie. I'm still not a big movie buff. But I do remember loving at holiday time, sitting with my parents and watching Frosty and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and The Year Without a Santa Claus. And I
It's a
think
classic.
I think as a child those had to be my favorites.
Your go-to breakfast place in Charleston?
Page's Okra Grill.
If a friend is coming into town for one night, where are you taking them to dinner?
Well, if it's a really special friend, I'm bringing them to Halls. If it's another really, I also love. I love The Ordinary. I love The Grocery. Um, Costa. We just went to Costa for the first time. Oh my goodness gracious. There's so many to choose from, but those would be my top four.
It's a great list. And lastly, if you could describe the Mount Pleasant Town Center community in one word, what would it be?
Heart. It would be. I mean, we are. It gets me like kind of emotional, I think, because I've put so much time and effort and love into turning the shopping center into so much more than a shopping center. And it's just my goal is to continue to do that, is to make it better, to make people welcome, to give them what they want, to give them what they need, to provide them with events. And like even the kids club, I didn't have to do a kids club. I mean, really, no one was missing it. But hearing from people who are like, I'd love to be able to bring my kids somewhere for free,
Mm.
right? On a Tuesday morning while my other kids are in school. So what do? We turn around and we start a kids club, So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of being able to listen. I wish I could do more. I wish I had endless time. I wish I had an endless budget. Unfortunately, that's not the way the world works. But I really do feel that we're kind of touching on all of the different things when it comes to holiday events and kids events and dog events and we're women events. We're working on the final mix, but I think we're really getting there.
Amazing, and I love your passion. It's very inspiring, and you're doing great work. And so, thank you, Kathi, for staying after school, coming on. You're obviously a very busy woman, so I really appreciate your time. Very grateful, and yeah, hope to run into you at Lights Up and say hello. And
Make sure you come find me. I'll be the one running around.
thank you so much. And I'll plug all the links and everything. So you guys definitely, if you're not following on socials, definitely hit the links in the bio here and follow all the amazing stuff that Kathi and the town center is doing.
I really
All right.
appreciate it, Rob. It was great speaking with you.
You too. Have a great day.
You too.